here we are, just outside the castle of Babblot, where King Burky and his little jester Badger like to stroll around, looking at board games that were planted in the years gone by, and seeing which of these are still standing in the woods of Evergreen.
Hey, hey, hey! It is the Burky and the Badger at the woods of Evergreen. Games that we feel stand the test of time. Welcome, Sir Badger, to the woods of Evergreen.
Oh, thank you very much, Sire, for inviting me. King Burky with your gorgeous crown. Let's have a close-up of that crown there. There it is.
Thank you. This is the crown up there. And right here, I wear it on my chest and I wear it on my head and all around.
Very nice. It's very nice. I like it. I like it. With a little lemon twist.
Covering up my crown. Whoop, whoop, whoop. You can't see this if you're listening to the audio show, but it's big fun. Whoop.
It is big fun. So, hello and welcome to the Woods of Evergreen. This is where we recount 3 of our favorite games from a year when they were published, and they're not just our favorite games.
What year?
Well, in this we have a big gap. We're doing 2000 to 2004. If you remember, before our last one we did before 2000, and so now we're going to go back from 2000 to 2004 because there's not a lot of titles that I've played personally in between those years that were published those years.
That's what I thought when we decided to do a grouping there for those earlier years. It's been a while, that's 23 years ago. I thought, gosh, there's not going to be that many that I'm going to be able to pull from. But I was really surprised at how many games between 2000 and 2024 that I have played and really like and think could make this list.
And again, they're not just games that we like, they're games that we still play and still believe are headstrong and still, viable today. And you could break out today and people would just fall in love with them. So that's why they're evergreens. That's what we call them, evergreens. And we're strolling through the woods of Evergreen, looking at these beautiful games which were trees in former life.
Now, we're both going to give 3 of our games that we think stand the test of time and would, in essence, be a kind of an evergreen. It's not necessarily that they're selling like an evergreen, and I was going to make a comment. I don't know what Barry's games, his selections are, but one of the games that's in this list, I'm not sure how to bring this up because maybe you have this picked, but there's one game that is an extremely prominent game in the board game hobby that definitely is in this time frame. It was a Spiel des Jahres winner. Is this a game that you've picked?
No, the 3 games I've picked are different from the 3 games that you have picked. So we have a good selection here.
Well, the game that I'm referring to is is not in my list, but I think it hardly needs to be mentioned because everybody knows it is an evergreen. It's one of the top selling games of all time.
Okay.
And it does fit within that period of time. So I didn't add that to my list because I thought it was kind of redundant, but you may have put it on your list because you don't think it's redundant. So I just won't even mention it, and we'll just see if anybody can guess what it is.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in the chat, feel free to join in. If you have any comments or any questions, we'd love to hear from you as well.
Yeah, and again, we'd love to hear from you. What are some of your favorite evergreen titles that were published from 2000 to 2004? Are they the same as ours, or were they completely different and, wild cards?
And, we do this live, and we do it at noon Central Daylight Time in the United States so that it works out with Barry's schedule because he's in the evening time now. You're at like 7 o'clock right now, p.m.?
Yes, it is. So 7 p.m. in Europe and then 6 p.m. in the Brexit place. But
Well, and we realized that that's maybe not an ideal time for a lot of people to join in depending on their work schedule. And we do this usually on Wednesdays, but we do make a professional audio edit of this show so that you can go back and watch the YouTube video if you like on the Burky and Badger YouTube channel, or you can find it on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, the more professionally edited version that Barry does of our Burky and Badger Board Game Babble show and our Woods of Evergreen segments. You'll also see these on our Facebook pages, and we'd love to have you join. The more people we have joining in the comments, the more fun it is. We also have a lot of guests on the show. We have 2 sponsors of the show with Arcane Wonders and, of course, Game Toppers. So we're still having fun doing the show, and so we'd love to have you join us with that. So with that, Barry, would you like to go first and tell us your first Evergreen?
Okay, my first Evergreen title is a tile-laying game, which is a game which has recently just had another reprint, and that is Carcassonne.
Carcassonne.
Yes, this is the new cover. As you can see, it looks gorgeous. I like that.
Cool.
It makes me want to buy that version. And I missed out on the big box edition. I never bought the big box edition. And the big box edition, for those of you who don't know, was
I have the big box edition.
Yeah, is an edition which comes with the base game and then about 10 or so expansions. This is like the first game that I owned that. No, it's not the first game I had with expansions. There was Hero Quest back in '89 that had expansions. But yeah, this was great. I didn't go for the big box version because I thought I'd just get the small version, convince the wife to play it, and if she liked it and we played it regularly, we would get some expansions to mix it up, because the base game alone is pretty good. There's enough in there. You're basically laying a tile and deciding to either use one of your meeples, and that's where the term meeple came from, this game, to add them to that tile that you've placed, and either make them a knight in the castle, or a robber on the road, a farmer on a piece of green terrain, or a monk in a priory. And they will score differently for those different roles. And you've only got like a finite number of these meeples that you can use. And so whenever they score, like when a road is complete, it has 2 ends. You collect your robber back and you score points for each tile that had a bit of the road that your robber was walking up and down on, so to speak. There's enough strategy just in the base game alone, because no one is allowed to place another meeple on the same road. So if they're placing a tile, they can't place a meeple on the road if that road connects to your road where you got your meeple on. But you can do strategic placement by placing a tile somewhere else and then connecting the 2 roads together. And then when that road is finished, both players will score equal amounts of points, unless one player has more meeples on their road, that road, than the other, or the castle, or whatever. So it's just such a light, easy game. It's just puzzle building. You're just connecting square edges against square edges, making this map. And I love it for its simplicity. It's a game which has still got in my collection. I've got a few of the expansions. I love playing it. Unfortunately, it hasn't hit the table for a long time. I do mention it when people just want a quick game, but my wife always shrugs her shoulders and digs up her phone and starts watching videos on YouTube and whatever. So some kind of podcast called Burky and Badger. That's my pick. My pick is Carcassonne, which came out in 2000.
Wow, I like that. I like that choice. And I haven't even played all the expansions in the big box, but it's been quite a while since I've played it. But I like it. But I have so many of these games that sit on the shelf crying out, play me, that I think are awesome games that, once we start accumulating these time, it's hard to get back to them sometimes.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, now things have cleaned up. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that we'll be able to play more games. And we've been able to get in a couple games lately. On our next Burky and Badger show, we might talk about some of those. There's a game that I very much like, and this was a game that was designed or was published in 2002. And it was one of the Days of Wonder games. Well, this is about when our family started getting into the hobby more. Every Christmas we would buy a couple of games, and it was Days of Wonder that were bringing out all these games, and we would usually get 2 or 3 of these games at Christmas, and our family would play them. Well, this particular game just kind of I just love it, and you know why? Um, that's not the one I was going to go for, but I'll talk about that one now.
Sorry.
You've got them in different order. No problem. I'll go with that one. This game was a game that Josiah and my son, played a lot. And I have a really special fondness for this game. This game is Memoir 44. This is designed by Richard Borg, and you can see that there's a lot of cool little plastic miniatures. There's a hex grid map for movement. There are different obstacles. This is basically, you've got 3 sections of the board. You're getting tactic cards to where you get to place your troops, where you get to move your troops, and you get to do different things. Perhaps you can defend yourself from an attack. You can do different tactical movements, and you're generally going for a particular goal. There's all kinds of scenarios. There's all kinds of expansions to this game. It's a pretty simple back and forth type of game, but it gives that feel, and it's that World War II genre that's always so fun. My son and I love playing this. One of our first big memories of playing this game outside of him and I just playing it was when the first time we went to Gen Con. We signed up for a game of Memoir, but it was the Over Battle, or the Overlord battle, where you had 3 players and a commander. Well, Josiah, being very good at this game, even at a young age, he was 18 years old, was the Overlord commander. And so we're there, and guess who's there? Who is now my dear friend, and we meet quite regularly at conventions, but Richard Borg, the designer of Memoir 44, was there. And he took Josiah under his wings as that commander, and he was so impressed with how Josiah managed that game. I happened to be just one of the commanders down on the one of the players, but it was so epic. It was so cool playing that big, massive, the thing was about 6 feet wide, 3 people on each side, and just this amazing experience. And this game just kept providing that kind of enjoyment. I think this game still stands up. They still are doing little things with it. So this game was very, very prominent in the hobby. Days of Wonder brought this, and whenever they came out with an expansion, Josiah was the first one to get it. And we played this game a lot. And of course, it's got the command and color system that Richard Borg has used in several of his other games, like Battle Lore and different things as well. Love Memoir 44, just great fond memories. I haven't played it in a very long time, so my descriptions are going to be a little vague and a little bit more about the memory of our experiences playing, but that gives you a little bit of an idea of what that game is about. So if you like that 2-player back and forth type of game, you like World War II theme, I think you really like Memoir. It's not overly complex, but there's a lot of good things to do.
Yeah. Very nice. Good choice. Good choice.
And your number 2.
Okay, my number 2 is kind of the same kind of game, but there is a vast difference. And I love this game. I think it's superior to Memoir 44. The base game itself is called Heroescape: Rise of the Valkyrie, which was a game from Hasbro, which had 3D terrain and miniatures and big miniatures and medium-sized miniatures. And it's the same kind of thing where you construct an army. Unfortunately, it's a little bit different there because you're constructing an army, whereas in Memoir 44, they're scenarios, and they tell you you have X amount of tanks and X amount of troops. In this, you have a scoring mechanism. You build up your army with these random creatures and people and historical figures, and then you just go at one another. You take turns. You'll have the character cards in front of you, and you will have 4 tokens, and they will be the order tokens that you will play 4 of your characters, or one of your characters, because you could just put 4 of these tokens on one character and say, right, this character is going to do 4 actions this turn. Well, actually 3 actions, because one of those is a bluff. So there's this nice back and forth of like, okay, they're playing that token on that character and that character, so they're probably going to do this and attack here. And the terrain is 3D, and so you're using logic. It's not kind of like Warhammer logic where you get a tape measure out and stuff like that. You just look, you put your eye behind the head of your character and see if you can see the character that you're shooting at. And if you can, it's viable. You roll some dice, and you have fun. This is a gorgeous looking game, which is out of print. And it's been out of print for a long time, but it's very, very, very popular. It came out in 2004. And again, this is a game which had lots of expansion. So you had your base game, but then you had lots of little mini character boosters, but you also had some terrain boosters. So there's like ice, and you could just let your imagination run wild by creating these really weird terrains and kind of like mystical castles and landscapes, kind of Lord of the Rings-ish, and then just make up rules for it as well. So you could say that the water takes 4 points of movement to move from one hex to the other because it's thick water or acid water, so it does 1 damage on your characters. And the game is just like limitless. You're only bound down by your imagination in this game. It's light enough. It has 2 versions. Each of the character cards has 2 versions. They have a basic version, which means that they can die in one shot, but they have like different statistics for moving, attacking, and defending. And then they have a more advanced one, which has secret power and different statistics as well, and life points. So you can try a lot more things. Your games are a bit more intense. I can't gush enough about this game. I'm so glad I bought it, and I'm so glad that I own it, and I'm so glad that it's sat just underneath this table in big plastic containers because the boxes just fell apart. It's a fantastic, glorious, simple but fun battle game, which when you buy expansions, you can add 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th players, and you can just have all-out war or teaming and capture the flag. It's before all that paintball stuff. Well, for me, it was before paintball, but it is paintball on a tabletop. There you go. I'm
it's so epic with all of that 3D terrain and how it looks and assembles and is variable for so many different types of games. And the people that have collected this game and a lot of its expansions and modules, they've got tubs and tubs of Hero Quest, and people keep talking about remaking this game, but the cost to redo it now would be, pretty expensive, I think. But it's amazing.
Yeah, but it would be worth it. Between Hero Quest and HeroScape, I wish that HeroScape had been republished and not Hero Quest. It's not the same game. Nowhere.
Wow.
Sorry. Lots of Hero Quest fans are deep. Switch off.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't played either of them actually, so just heard about them. So this was about the time that I was getting into the greater hobby, if you will, around 2005. But we had started gaming back as early as 1980s, where we were playing Axis and Allies and a lot of these type of games, Fortress America and Shogun, Seven Samurai.
So I could tell you off for not playing HeroScape and Hero Quest, but then you could tell me off for not playing Risk and Axis and Allies, and so we're even.
Well, my number 2 is a game that I just adore. This game. This game is a great big green monster. When I say that, the cover, there's nothing super exciting about the cover or the art or even the theme necessarily. This is a Friedman Freeze game, right?
Yes, it is.
Power Grid from Rio Grande Games. Power Grid is an auction resource management kind of area control-ish type of game. Not really pure area control, but I mean, you're building this power grid all through these different maps. And I own several of the different maps, but you're collecting resources. You're also bidding on these different factories and different power plants and things of this nature. And they have an escalating type of auction system where you're collecting these resources, whether it's coal or oil, or you're trashing stuff, getting rid of your waste, and you're building up these power plants all across these different maps. Every time we've played this game, you can see in some of the pictures Barry is showing there, there's some of the cards that you're auctioning off to buy these different plants that are kind of an engine building type of situation. I see we have Kabuki Kid is here. It says Power Grid, not a pretty game, but yeah, a fun one. I like it with exactly 4. That's a good point. Player count, we've played it a lot with 4. We have a company, our power company in Fergus Falls is called Ottertail Power Company. And we had a gaming group from Ottertail Power, and we would play this game regularly, and it was a big hit, and we always played with 4 players. Some of the European maps and all these different maps. I just really like this game. I would play this game anytime. I'd love to play it now. So super fun game. Power Grid, that was designed published in 2004, and there's been many subsequent maps and stuff. In fact, I've got a insert for it that I haven't built yet. So that's don't you hate that when you got a game there and then you buy the insert, you're going to put it together, but you don't?
No.
I'm guilty.
That's just you.
Kabuki, she makes a great point. She says Power Grid has probably the worst paper money in board gaming. Absolutely correct. We always use coins. In fact, I use in Power Grid, we use these card money that the Dice Tower had because they were in different denominations that were kind of thick, and it felt kind of cool with the game. There you go. So mine is Power Grid number 2. And so before we go on to our final third game, we want to make just a quick introduction to our sponsor, Arcane Wonders. Arcane Wonders has their hit game, Foundations of Rome, but they are on Kickstarter right now with a new printing of the hit game because this game is pretty much all sold out. Very hard to get, very hard to produce. If you're going to Gen Con right now, Arcane Wonders has a limited supply of these at Gen Con, and that's basically what they have left. It's a fantastic game, in my opinion. It's already moved up into my top 10 of games. I love it. I love it. Our last episode of the Burky and Badger Board Game Babble Show, we talked extensively. We did a deep dive into Foundations of Rome. Feel free to check that out. But now, this is designed by Emerson Matsuuchi, who I love Emerson. He's got the new expansion, Roads of Fortune. And I'm just going to read this really quick. Cunning architects need to be mindful of more than just what's within the borders of Rome, but what lies beyond them as well. The edges of the city previously considered by your fellow architects to be the least valuable real estate are now connected to the outside world. And traveling merchants, diplomats, philosophers, soldiers, and vagabonds approach the gates, eager to exchange their knowledge and services. Control of Rome's borders means control of untold riches entering the city. The Roads of Fortune players are rewarded for maintaining majority control over the edge of the play area by unlocking powerful new abilities and variable sets of road borders. As the capstone expansion to the Foundations of Rome experience, the roads are compatible with any of the existing modules, including the Gardens of Caesarea, Solo Challenge, the Roads of Fortune, also all the quality life improvements such as a new component tray and upgrades to new player aids. They've got stickers for the monuments so you can see how to put them in there. The main component tray is designed where they're sending a new tray that's designed to handle all of the existing foundations, but also this expansion. There's a couple of other little tweaks that they are including in this. But if you didn't get Foundations of Rome to begin with, now you can still get the Emperor's Pledge. They have discounted shipping, all kinds of different things that they're offering for this, what I'm being told, last time run of this game. They have other opportunities in the future to expand the line, but this particular game, now's the time to get it. And this is a really short campaign, only 20 days. They've already raised almost $250,000 in just one day. And this tells you people out there on the interwebs are raving about it. Go check out arcanewonders.com. Check out Foundations of Rome and the new expansion, Roads of Fortune. And with that, Barry, would you like to go on to the third game on your list?
Yeah, I would do. Just quickly, look, I'm a backer of this game, not because they are a sponsor, but because this is a good game and it needs the expansion. I think I'm going to have lots of fun playing that in the future. In fact, we almost played it last night, but then someone got a bit tired. Yes.
My daughter Maddie loves this game. We played the prototype a couple of years ago, and she loved it then. And then when we got it, she goes, "Dad." And Maddie plays a lot of games, and Orleans, Concordia, a lot of games that. I mean, she's a gamer, and she goes, "Dad, I think this might be my all-time favorite game."
Yeah.
So that says something there too. It's so easy to get into, and yet there's a lot of things going on. So pretty cool. All right, number 3.
Okay, my number 3 is another game which had a big box edition. It came out in 2003. I didn't buy the big box edition because, I heard good things about this game, and I was very, careful with my money, and so I bought the base game. And then I said to myself, if it's good, then I'll get some expansions. And that game is Alhambra.
Oh, I almost put this one on my list with the big box because I have the big box. I like the big boxes.
To be honest with you, I think this game doesn't need the expansions. It's a good, solid base game with plenty of replayability. Rehabilitation. It's kind of Carcassonne because you're building up an Alhambra from tiles, and you have these walls which you block your city in, and once your city's blocked in, that's it. It's finished. You can't build anymore. So you got to try and keep it open and get your walls to touch each other. So there's some puzzle aspects there, but there's also a race to get the different colored buildings because they're worth different points at the end of one of the 3 phases. If you have the most in your Alhambra, you'll get lots of points, and they'd go on a point ranking skill. And the game basic mechanic is kind of an auction mechanic. Not an auction mechanic. You're kind of drawing a card or two up to the value of, I can't remember, it's been so long, but you're drawing some cards, and this is money, and you've got 4 different currencies, and they have numbers from 1 to 9, and you're drawing these cards and adding them to your hand. So it's like money, or you're spending the money that you have in your cards on tiles to build. And then you can either put them directly into your Alhambra or reserve them for later on to put them in a better place because they might have a wall section which doesn't connect. And excuse me. And as I said, after 3 kind of phases, so in the money deck, there'll be a scoring phase, and then a second scoring phase, and then an end scoring phase. You'll see who's won, and then you'll actually get bonus points for having like the longest continuous wall as well. such a simple game, but there's, as I said, quite a lot of depth and quite a lot of strategy in it, because each building can only be bought from a different currency. And as I said, there's 4 different types of currencies, which are 4 different colors, so to say. But it's just a game where a lot of fun can be had. Unfortunately, the novice players will struggle, I found, and whereas an experienced player will have a runaway score, because I don't know why. But it kind of unbalanced if the player's skill level is imbalanced. But if it's all level playing field, like what it is in our household, then it's pretty tight. But yeah, a fantastic game. Still play it. We've played it recently last year. So hopefully play it this year. It come out on the table again. That's Alhambra.
Yeah, super fun game, easy to teach, and a nice family weight game. And this game is a Spiel des Jahres winner, I believe, right?
Yes, it is. And that was another reason that I picked it up, is because it had that little logo on the box, which kind of told me that it's kind of been approved, not improved, but approved, that it is quite a good game.
Well, this is where you really started seeing the renaissance of gaming and these big titles of games coming out, and then subsequently the plethora of games that became, designed and prominent in the hobby. Well, my number 3, I have to say, we have to go back into the Days of Wonder Vault.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a segment, the Days of Wonder Vault.
Maybe
it's wonderful.
Yes.
And this game, I love this game. We played it over and over as a family. Josiah really loves this game. This game is called Pirates Cove. And you know why pirate jokes are funny, don't you?
I'll let Kabuki answer that.
They just are.
Well, she thought it was going to be Colosseum.
Yeah, that's later, I think. That maybe it is between 2004. That will definitely be on the list. I think I've talked about that one before.
Would you kick yourself if it was and you missed it off your list?
What year was Colosseum? Now we're having squirrel moments, but
no.
Pirates Cove was done in 2002. Okay. Pirates Cove, it's got this fun little mechanism where you each have these dials and you're blindly putting it on a location on this map, and these locations are going to do different things. They're going to get you cannons to help you with your ships. If you're going to do battle, it's going to help you get sails. It's going to improve your hull. It's going to get you treasure that you want to deliver to the island, but how you do that and the timing of that is really, really important. You have these special cards where you could get your master craft builder upgrades. You can get the parrot cards, which give you a special pirate ability, and you're running around trying to collect all this treasure, and you're trying not to go somewhere that you don't want to fight some, but go somewhere that you want to fight some. So there's this fog of war type of mind games that you're playing about where you're going, and everybody simultaneously reveals, and all of a sudden off you go, and you resolve the combats and or the rewards, and you play this game around and around, and it's got cute little piratey art. Makes you want to say pirate jokes and talk like a pirate. And it's perfect on our Game Toppers pirate mat, of course. We love this game. There you see the dials where you can collect your crew and your, all of that stuff. Love this game. Very difficult to find. You don't see it on Amazon. It's definitely not in print anymore. But we love this game. We've had so much fun playing it. And it brings back a lot of those memories of playing games with our family that I really, really cherish as well. So love Pirates Cove, 2002 release from Days of Wonder. If you can get a copy, I highly recommend. It's not overly complex, but it's still cool. And that's my third game of games between 2000 and 2004.
Nice. Very nice.
Well, before we close out, I would be remiss to not talk about our other sponsor, Game Toppers. Why is Game Toppers? That's us, my company. Why are they a sponsor of the show that you do? Are you that narcissistic? Yes, we are. Just want to get that out of the way. If you didn't already know, I am the king, right?
Yeah.
No. Barry has put me in this position. No, but Game Toppers actually sponsors the show, and that Game Toppers pays for all of the web hosting and all of the things. So we don't request money of anybody or do anything like that. We offer this free and hope people enjoy our nonsense and silliness. But Game Toppers had started in 2017, and we've successfully completed 4 Kickstarter campaigns. The last Kickstarter, Game Toppers 3.5, where we offered the leg kits for our new Mycroft and Moriarty toppers, as well as leg kits for all of our toppers, so they can be full freestanding tables. There were new mats, 25 stretch goals that we unlocked. It was fantastic. A lot of great deals. If you're an existing backer, there were some loyalty packages that we gave special pricing on, just so you could jump in and add on to your system, because Game Toppers is more than just a topper. It's more than a table. It's a complete system of thematic game mats, of cup holders, accessories, storage bags, all kinds of wonderful things that upgrade every game you play. Really the ultimate gaming accessory. And you can still late pledge for Game Toppers 3.5. We are getting our dining covers. They're in Seattle right now. We expect to be shipping out all of the European, UK, and Australian orders within about 2 weeks from now, 2 to 3 weeks. Then all of the United States and Canadian orders are going to be shipping. We expect to be done with fulfillment on this campaign just within the second week of September. And this just ran in May, and Pledge Manager launched in June. So very quick turnaround time to take care of all of our customers and backers. We're so grateful for all of you. And you still have an opportunity. If you haven't got in on it, you got about a month. Then our prices are going to need to go up. We've incurred a lot of increases, and we're going to be moving stuff from the Pledge Manager to our web store. You can still get stuff, but we need to make some adjustments. So if you're looking for a good game table and a lot of accessories and fun thematic game mats, now's the time. Jump into GameToppersLLC.com, hit the late pledge button, and you can go for it. GameToppersLLC.com. And with that, Barry, I think you can send us out.
I can indeed. You can find us on Board Game Geek with our guild 2248. You can find us on his website, which is Board Game Theatre.
Board Game Theatre, yes.
And then you can find us on my site called BoardGamesEverybodyShould.com. As I said, this podcast gets published on all kinds of streaming services, so look out for it. Apple, iTunes, Stitcher, WhatsApp, whatever, YouTube, wherever, we're everywhere. Burky and Badger.
Twitter,
Simple to find.
Facebookiverse,
Yes.
Instagramiverse.
Yes.
All the verses.
All the verses. Except for the last verse, which is the outro.
Oh, the outro. Do the outro, please. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks very much. Take care, and hopefully we get to hear what your favorite games and evergreens are from 2000 to 2004. Leave a comment in the notes below.
We're so glad we had this time together. Now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Burky and Badger will be back in no time.